Still hear me?
Yep.
All right, beautiful. Oh, golly, geez. Can't seem to get anything going with the technology. It continues. I come back and it takes four screens for me to do this darn show, and one of them is down. So it's like, oh my God, now what? What else can go wrong for me? How did everybody's weekend go? Did we have a good holiday weekend?
It was a beautiful weekend, Steve. How was yours?
It was it was eventful, that is for sure. We were in National Harbor, Maryland, right outside of DC, for a really cool volleyball tournament, really cool venue. The girls had a great time, good bonding experiences, some good volleyball, some good times had by the parents. So yeah, it was a great weekend. Anybody want to share anything in particular from their weekend, real estate wise or not? Anybody have anything that you're just dying to get off your chest and share with this group? Everybody just had a nice relaxing, got some decent weather. That was nice. We were in the 70s down there, so we were getting outside and getting some exercise going. Um, I spent a lot of my time just kind of because there's a lot of downtime at these volleyball tournaments. There's a lot of great volleyball, and then there's a lot of downtime, and the girls kind of just go and do their thing. So it turns into some thinking time, a lot of long walks. But I just kind of thinking about the place that we're in, with the world that we're in right now, because it just seems kind of crazy, and I think a lot of people maybe just feeling a little bit lost, and they're at times where even myself as a leader, I feel very confident in what we're doing as a real estate team. I feel confident in what we're doing in this group that we're building here. Um, but sometimes just like, hey, is this the best way to do it? Is this the best way to attack it? So just kind of spent some time thinking through that on what is the exact outcome that I am looking for. And I think this is a place that a lot of people probably need to go back to, that you're in the grind, you're doing it for maybe reasons that you don't understand. We've kind of talked about that a little bit on this call about, are you doing this business just to make a paycheck? Or are you doing this business because you love this business? What you need to do to execute in this business doesn't feel like work. Because I really feel like that's the key to success in whatever you're trying to do, is if it doesn't feel like work to you, you're always going to be able to outwork everybody else where it does feel like work. So when we talk about, making the calls, sending the texts, having the interactions, getting to the conversation so that you can get the conversion, if that just feels like a lot of work, this is going to be a very, very difficult business for you. If I just love talking to people, I love having conversations, I love, helping people, then this can be a very easy business, even when the times are tough, like I think they are right now. There's just so much in the world with regards to distractions. So anybody, just raise their hands. Do you feel like you absolutely know your North Star? How many people could say, I know my North Star, this is why I'm doing it, I've got my goals down, I know where I'm going, this is how I'm going to get there? Or are we just a little bit kind of distracted and unsure? Anybody want to kind of speak to this? Give me
I
some.
got my North Stars, Dave.
Yeah.
Did someone raise their hand?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You feel like you're just locked in, you know what you're doing, you love what you're doing. I mean, talk to me about, where you're at.
Well, so I feel like I know my North Star, but sometimes I go to the West and the East and then I circle back to the North Star. But I feel like even though I may go off, I know like what it is. And I love my job. I love it almost too much, like you. So it's almost too much because my family can say things like, do you do anything? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so I do struggle with that balance that my relationship, there is that, hey, I need a little more attention. Why are you doing that offer at 10 o'clock at night? And for me, I love it. It's
Yeah.
not a problem that I'm doing it at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's funny. We were having a conversation with one of about a newer agent, and the comment that got back to me was that this person said, "Well, geez, one of the leads came in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and
That's noon by then. Are you
right,
kidding
like
me? Eh?
eight, and you didn't want to take it." I was watching some random thing about kind of purpose, and one of these it was like these cooking shows where I don't know, it's probably a famous guy, but I don't know which guy he was, but he was doing a trying to help like a pizza shop guy, and so he sent in a silent shopper, and the silent shopper happened to be a very famous pizza review guy named Dave Portnoy. So Dave is like this, he takes one bite of your pizza, and if he gives your pizza at your shop a good rating, your business is going to go up. Like no doubt. That's how popular this guy has come with his one bite. He gives a score, etc. So the way that the show's going, the owner of the business has hired this guy, or they're doing the show to like help him, and he comes in, and his buddy, not Dave himself, but his buddy orders one of everything. One, they have, I don't know, 15 different types of pizza on the board. And the guy taking the order is all pissy. And the guy making the pizzas is all pissy. And I think he tells the owner, and the owner happens to be there or something, and he's all pissy. It's like you're a struggling business. This guy's got the biggest order of the night, and you guys are complaining. So, like, if that happened to you, would you love it or would you complain? And I think it's a really good way to kind of figure out, do you even love what you're doing? Like, this guy just had the biggest order of the night. You guys are struggling to make ends meet. You can't pay the guy making the pizza because the business is not doing well, and everybody's complaining, including the guy doing the work. So I don't know. I just, and I think for the best, I think it can, and why we try and do a lot of the personal stuff. I think it can then go and affect your family and your relationships, because when it doesn't feel like work, you don't even realize the other parts of your business, or excuse me, the other parts of your world that it's affecting. So by those comments, Chris, I know you've got your North Star, and I know you're going to be phenomenal at this for as long as you want to be phenomenal at it. Like, that's in you. And I think the difficulty for that top producer then becomes, how do I balance the rest of my world if I want the rest of my world, to be living my best life as well? And this is a struggle that we see a lot, not just in this industry, but in general with producers, with the elite of whatever they're doing. When they love that so much, they're almost screw loose obsessed. Who else has got a different take? Where are you at mentally with regards to this career? Let's kind of talk through some of these different things. Steve.
I love, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I love the grind. Obviously, I have a handful of businesses, and my biggest, complaint from my wife and kids is I don't have an off switch, and it's just I can't explain it. Some people are just built different. I think you are, I think I am. There's just some people, it's 24/7. Even when I'm sleeping, my mind's going. I'm waking up in the middle of the night with ideas. And people that don't have that and they do have an off switch, they just don't understand it, and it's tough because I'm over here and I'm grinding and I'm in the zone, and I am, neglecting, maybe my wife and kids at times, but it's like that's how you get to the top. You don't get to the top, taking a week off because it's school vacation and doing nothing. Um, but my biggest hurdle, I love the job. I love it's not work to me. The talking, the CRM, all this stuff's my wheelhouse. It doesn't bother me. My biggest challenge is the fact that the majority of other agents on the other side don't operate. I have 3 open houses this weekend. and I have no replies. I have questions, and it's been, I understand it's Easter weekend, and it's like, my buyers are seeing me out there, and I said, just trying to lower expectations. I'm out here working on Saturday. I know it's Easter weekend. Others aren't. We may not get a reply till Monday. I'm just trying to, let them know that my responsiveness is not, I have no control over the other end's responsiveness. And I even put in an offer yesterday morning, and I like to follow up with, hey, I sent the offer. Here's my email. Don't know. The guy has not confirmed that he got it. So now I have to bug him again and copy and paste that again. Like, I need an acknowledgement that you do have that in front of you. It's not in spam. You're sharing it with, and it that's the most frustrating thing for me. And it's always been kind of running like my other wedding businesses, having workers and delegating. Things aren't done a certain way that I like and timely. And I just don't get people like that. I have no patience for people who, you can see they read the message and then they don't reply. And it's been 3 days. Like,
Yeah.
if I get a message, you're getting a reply from me within 0.2 seconds because I get inundated otherwise. Unresponsive people are just, that's my biggest hurdle in this business, because I know, understand there are, different levels of professionalism in this business, but the amount of unresponsive agents is mind blowing to me. And then I don't wonder why certain people don't make it, because they can't even reply to a text. I have an offer in your inbox and you can't even acknowledge, yep, got it. Thanks so much. They don't tell you like, hey, our highest and best is 3 o'clock on Monday. You already know that. Here's when we're thinking of making a decision. Instead of making everybody wonder, like, it's just little communication goes a long way in this business. And I guess I'm just going to be a better agent because of it, because I'm experiencing it and I know how other people will feel when I'm on the listing side. I'm going to acknowledge it, say I got it. Here's the game plan. We're going to talk on this day. We're going to make a decision by that day. And then people don't have to wonder. That's my biggest
Yeah.
hurdle.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I've said it since I've been going on these airwaves talking about this stuff. It is extremely frustrating, it is a constant prayer for me that, as the industry gets professionalized, you will weed these people out, but they they don't seem to be getting weeded out. That is for sure. They are still kicking around, and it makes it ultra frustrating for the professionals. And the best we can do is just communication with our clients to make sure they understand that it's not us. Linda.
Steve, can I speak to that a tiny
Yeah,
bit?
sure. Yeah,
So I think the biggest thing is communication's key, because people aren't all insane like me, you, and him. Like, they're not all wired like us, but communication's key. Because I got a couple in too that have made this weekend, and one of the agents said to me, "Hey, look, it's Saturday at noon. It's Easter weekend. I'm not working all weekend." Like, what that person does, I have absolutely zero judgment, because yes, family time is absolutely huge. And in my 30s, I didn't prioritize it as much as I did my 40s and now at my 50s. You know what I mean? And I've grown to learn that. So if someone's like, I'm taking the whole weekend off, that's wonderful. And God bless you. And I don't, that's wonderful. But communicate that. Communicate that. Like he just said, Steve just, I'm sorry. Like he just said, like he saw it was red, right? You see it's red. That's the frustrating thing. Even answer, I don't know the answer to that. Let me get back to you. Let me this. Da, da, da. Just acknowledge the person on the other line, you know?
yeah. That's the key, right? No problem. Time off. We get it. Do that. Matter of fact, it's healthy to do that. It's unhealthy, I think, to do it like some of us do it. And I've definitely grown in that area. But just communicate it. Linda, what do you got?
I think that the way that the agent on the other side responds is very telling to us as to whether or not there are people for whom this is their, they know their North Star, and this is something that they absolutely love and are passionate about, and those for whom it is just a job and a paycheck. It's very, very telling in the way that a realtor responds to us. So you can really tell where people are with respect to how they feel about real estate by the way that they treat you. it, it really says a lot, because for those of us who care and for whom it just organically, we're just one, you're just in, and no, you don't have a set, I'm not taking a lead at 8 o'clock in the morning, those types of things. It just shines through, and you can really tell who you're dealing with right away. And I think for those that it's just a job. I agree with you, Steve. Find something that you love, that speaks to you, where you don't set those types of limits on it, where it just flows so organically from you, your responses to it. This is just it's an all-encompassing proposition. It really, really is. And Jeff and I are insanely blessed to be doing this together, because we don't have to explain to a spouse, to a child, right? We just don't even have to explain. We're just all in all the time. So that gives us great latitude and liberty to do this, to love it even more, and to just it never stops, and it just flows organically. And when you were telling the story about somebody who doesn't love what they're doing, it took me back to when I went into preterm labor with my twins. We had just moved to Minnesota. My husband at the time got a fabulous job offer, and we moved to Minnesota. I didn't know a soul, and my water broke in the middle of the night. I was terrified, and he takes me into this hospital. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we walk into this department, and the nurse takes one look at me, and she rolls her eyes and goes, "Oh God." And I can't even tell you what I was feeling at the time, and how this woman made me feel, and how that feeling still stays with me. My twins are almost 30 years old, and just remembering how this woman made me feel. And I thought, you know what? If a woman, clearly you don't love what you do. You should be doing something else. I mean, it was crushing at that time, and it left an impression. So clearly, when somebody loves what they do and the way they treat people, it shines through. Yeah, Jeff and I did open houses for a new listing on Lido Key both Saturday and Sunday. We did 3-hour open homes both days, and a gentleman knocked on the door yesterday, and I opened it, and I said, "Oh my gosh, welcome. Thank you so much for coming out on Easter. We're so delighted to have you." And he commented not once, twice, but 3 times. He said, "That was the most gracious and welcoming hello I've ever received." He said, "You really, really made my day. Thank you. That was so special." And it wasn't something that it just came from my heart. You know what I mean? So when you love something, it shines through, is the bottom line. So you got to be true to yourself, and find what makes your heart sing, really. And then that you'll find joy and success in life.
Yeah, it's, you know, let's say you're on the call, and we're talking about this, and you're struggling with it. You're like, hey, this isn't my passion. I was listening to something over the weekend where this is the first time I've heard it put this way, and I think it's a really good way to look at it. You've got to be careful with following your passions as well, because when you follow your passion, especially if you pick something that's pretty high profile, that's maybe even quote unquote sexy. So whether that's, I don't know, you're in media, you're trying to be an influencer, you are trying to make it as an actor or an actress, or maybe even as a real estate agent. Like, to make it to the top is extremely difficult. So this individual was just warning about, you can't just follow your passion, right? You've also got to be really, really good at it if you're picking something where there's a lot of competition. And that's what this business is. You get a lot of people that get in. It seems, quote unquote, sexy to be an agent. You see the shows that are out there, you see people's social media. And I think some people get in that way when he's like, you could go be a tax accountant and make plenty of money. It's not sexy, and there's a lot less competition. He was just throwing tax accountant as an example. But I don't know. I wanted to throw that out there in case, you're listening and you're like, you know what? I am kind of doing this because I like the glitz and the glam, but I don't actually like the day to day, right? Figure out what it is that your key strengths are, your technical skills are, what comes naturally to you, and maybe you do something that can go down that path and just make your life a little bit easier. Jay, I saw your hand up for a bit. What do you have to add?
I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm driving, but so I was on the opposite side, kind of in a similar situation this weekend. I showed a house on Saturday. Um, we wrote an offer. We actually met the owners at the house because we were there a little bit early, and then they were older. They had dogs. My client works with dogs, like there was a little bit of rapport built there. And then when we wrote the offer, I made it very clear to the list agent saying, hey, I want you, if you guys are celebrating Easter this weekend, our offer is good till Monday afternoon. No rush getting back to us tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And I know she appreciated it because she said, oh, yes, thank you. My grandmother and her recipes, it's a big deal for us. So, like, right away, I'm in rapport with that list agent. Now, obviously, the numbers still have to make sense to them, but it'll help for sure.
Yeah, I
Giving them
mean,
that extra time.
the other thing that I like to pull out of you, Jay, is I don't know that you are kind of like just in general, and correct me if I'm wrong, like what we're talking about this morning, right? Because I know
No, I
you are able to kind of shut it down and stuff, but yet you've been able to do this business for a long time. So what
yeah,
goes
I
through your
mean
head in this business?
it's always work is secondary to me. My family is the most important thing because if I don't have my family, then what the fuck am I working for? I mean, I mean,
Oh, we lost you. We lost you, Jay. What happened? I think he's got bad connection. Anybody else want to chime from the other side of this? Hey, you know what? I don't feel like I'm as passionate as you guys, but I'm able to. Here's how I attack it, and here's why it's working for me. Anybody coming from that angle, or is everybody on the call just crazy, screw loose about this business? Anybody want to be just vulnerable? You're on the call and you're thinking, I'm not screw loose and I'm nervous if I'm going to make it. Yeah, a lot of quiet people today. Somebody speak up. Where are you? Where's your head at? Margareta.
Hi, all. This is a good one, Steve. I don't know what I'm thinking. I love this business. I love talking to people, but they're just the kind of person that you either are or you're not. It's a natural habit that you kind of, I think, evolve into if you have that gift, because it's a gift. It's a gift to relate to people. I think it's something you can learn to care more about people and how you go around that. But ultimately, that I think my biggest challenge always is not so much doing the work, but the inconsistent income that comes with it. And we all have bills to pay, unfortunately. So, being an agent and the cash flow situation is sometimes a challenge, especially if you're like a single individual, if you don't have a spouse or a partner that supports that. It's a bit of a challenging thing to do where you have to, I think, maybe consider how to evolve and create more passive income around it since you're in that kind of business. So you have to kind of reach out outside of you. But real estate is a fantastic, I think, job. I've had several different ones in my life, and it is a passion. It's a passion, and it takes time, and it takes. I think people neglect to recognize also how much knowledge and education you have to go after to get there. So that's another one that I think comes to me today. But I do love what I'm doing. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to solve the ups and downs because I know that is a big struggle for most. You get a big paycheck, and maybe you aren't the best of savers, or you don't have a plan on how you're going to do it. And yeah, if you're not, especially when you're getting started, if you don't have really, really low expenses, the ability to go 6 to 12 months without an income, because that's what it can take, to really build up a pipeline and have the future business be there for you.
Steve, one
Yeah.
last thing, if I
Yeah.
may. I think, like Stephen mentioned in the beginning, some of us are just wired differently because make no mistakes, my family is my number one. So, along with business as I do it, I have always been the PTO mom, the traveling AAU mom, the soccer mom, the dance mom. So, at no point was it that you have a choice from a listing appointment to a baseball game. I'm taking the baseball game all day long and I'm moving that listing appointment. And if it can't be moved, well, then it wasn't meant for me. So I think that you can still have your great passion for what you do and still have other things be ultra important in your life.
Yeah. I mean, the best way this was ever put to me is, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. Right?
Right.
That's a Tom Ferry myth, right? If there's a baseball game, then it's got to go in there like it's a doctor's appointment, right? And maybe as a real estate agent, there's a conversation with your kids that says, "Look, I'm going to make almost every single game, but I can promise you, at some point this season, there's going to be a client, there's going to be something I can't move, and I'm going to have to miss one. But I'm going to be at just about every single one." And if you, as kids, I remember, my dad was somebody that just came to absolutely everything, through college, through absolutely everything. And most of the other parents were lucky if they made 10%, 25% of the stuff. So I don't even think you need to be at every single one. If you're worried about relationships with kids, you don't have to be at every single one. Just be at the majority of them. Probably be at half, and you'd be good. Um,
And
so
that's another key point. I saw the Grimaldi Plumbing and Heating truck pull through the baseball field, catch a couple innings, and there it went. You know what I mean? So I get it.
and the same thing with the relationships, right? It's not going to be I'm home at 5 every single day, and we can have relationship time. But I don't know how many significant others are looking for that, right? It's just figuring out a structure that works for this. Or like Linda said, you just find a significant other in the business. Very simple solution, because they all just get it. It is amazing to me how many there's like the couples, the pairs that do this in real estate, and it does seem to work. Well, this was a different one this morning, but hopefully it has you thinking at least a little bit about this business, about your North Stars, about how to structure a little bit. And if you have questions, I'm happy to talk about this stuff offline as well, because it is something that I just feel very passionate about, that we've got to figure out. It's never going to be balanced if you want success in this business, right? But it doesn't have to get out of control. I think that's the key. If you want to be great at anything, there's, at least for the beginning, it's going to be unbalanced for you to get to where you want, right? And the more experience you get, the longer into the career, probably the more balanced it can become. So, a lot of opportunity. Great chat today with you guys this Monday. Excited for a great week ahead. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. All right. Take care.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.